Top of the day to you, wherever you are watching us from across the world. This is Sport Africa. This is where we do the real thing when it comes to sports and football generally on the continent. Welcome once again. My name is Akshalulu Afemi. It's the last Friday in the month of April, and I hope that all that you've set out to achieve this month, have been ticked already in your boxes. Kaido Gundari and James Agberibi, they are here, of course, today. It's going to be another fantastic time on the show. Guys, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Femi. It's a nice time being with you again. Thank you for having me.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
James.
thank you, Femi. Happy to be on today's edition.
Okay, so if you're just watching us for the first time, let's take you through a regular, the way we do things right here. Of course, we'll be talking about the continental roundup, then the talking points, then we go to our stars in diaspora today. I will be just crossing the border right here from Nigeria to Ghana. Then big game of the weekend, we'll be going to Tunisia today. Okay, let's get started. During the week, there was a news from Zambia that the Zambia Football Association president has been arrested for money laundering and obtaining money under false pretenses as regarding the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations in Cote d'Ivoire. So we'll be telling you how far that investigation has gone and where the situation is currently is. And of course, we'll be going to Ghana. Athletes who represented Ghana at the 2023 Africa Games are saying they have not been paid their bonuses and allowances, despite the fact that Ghana spent $195 million to host the rest of Africa. So those are many more we'll be discussing on the show today. And of course, Nicholas Jackson is on the show today. An African legend is actually backing him to do great things at Chelsea. So I wouldn't know whether Chelsea fans will actually agree with that. So as a welcoming gift, let's talk about the Zambia news. It's heartbreaking though, because we've talked about issues like this on the continent, and things like this they are not far-fetched where there is no structure. During the week, we heard that Andrew Kamanga, of course, the Zambian Football Association president, was arrested for money laundering, and the whole story boils down to the fact that he sponsored individuals who are not officials of the association, people who are not its employees, and he was making reference to the doctors of the national team. How would you say those guys are not even employees of the association?
But sometimes these things would have been funny if it's not so sad. It would have been very, very funny if it is not sad, Femi. Can you imagine somebody comparing the medical staff of the national team with jobbers, people that he picked for whatever reason? That's why we say we are not ready when we pay lip service to sports development in Africa. Unfortunately, this is not limited to Zambia. Let's quickly say that. In the past, I can tell you authoritatively that in the past, in Nigeria, there was a scandal a few years back about a particular international competition that the NFF top officials took a particular lady who sold recharge card in front of the federation's office in Abuja. They took her to that competition. So for me, it's not peculiar to Zambia alone. These things happen all over. The problem in Ghana is still there. The problem in Cameroon is still there. It is very endemic especially in sub-Saharan Africa, Femi. I don't know what to say, apart from the fact that all of them will be brought to justice one after the other until we are able to restore sanity. That's the only hope we can have.
Okay, James, of course, the Zambia Drug Enforcement Commission, that is DEC, they also arrested in the AFCON, and everything was dictated. And the line of defense, like I told Kyle, that the ZAF put together is that this is just to discredit Kamanga, the Football Association president, ahead of the election that is coming up. Of course, this weekend they will hold their executive assembly in Zambia. And I quickly read to you, say in a television interview, local interview on Tuesday, Kamanga defended himself by arguing that it is not unusual for people who are not FAZ employees to travel as part of official delegation, giving the examples of the team's doctors. Just like I told Kyle, he said they are not FAG's employees. And then the federation itself, as expected in this climb, defended him, saying that it is just to discredit him ahead of the general election in the federation.
Femi, one annoying thing about us in this part of the world is when things like this happen, the excuse, the defense is another thing that will get you mad. So two things are getting you annoyed now. The accusations, whether true or not, that one, because you know that there's a possibility that it's true. Then the defense is another thing that will get you so mad, like so flimsy and so annoying. You know, and they start coming up with things like their political enemies are trying to get to them, and you know, so and you begin to where's the development? We are talking about developing the game on the continent, but Femi, we are not ready yet. We are not ready to run anything. You know, we just go to tournament to just make up the numbers. I just hope that they're able to clear the mess that is already there for
Okay.
us to see. It's a very sad call, honestly.
Yeah, so according to DEC, the fraudulent activity occurred between January 1 and February 15, coinciding with the AFCON finals. Just like you said, according to, of course, the body, he said they obtained $13,150 for the return ticket, of course, for also their trips to Cote d'Ivoire during the AFCON. And we wait to see, though we've heard that Kamanga and the secretary general and the other two guys that were arrested have been released pending, you know, when the investigation would be concluded. Okay, Kayode, this is actually on cue. I'll take you on Nicholas Jackson. Of course, you remember after the Wembley debacle, you know, for himself particularly, not even for Chelsea now, he received a lot of racial attacks online. And I saw your post. You were critical of him too for missing several chances. As a matter of fact, you even blamed Chelsea's defeat on him. But Chelsea came out strongly to say that they wouldn't permit that and they will support the authorities in investigation and all that. Now, Drogba has thrown his weight behind Nicholas Jackson in all of this. But how do you think fans can limit, you know, or can set a boundary between, you know, not trying to demean someone, then expressing their anger at the same time? I don't know whether you saw a picture of Jackson. He has gone to shave his hair, so I saw him bribing a very low cost. So people, they said Premier League clubs now, henceforth, they will see a brand new Jackson, just on the lighter mode. But where do you think fans can set the boundary between expressing how they feel about a player and not even abusing him? It's quite a thin line, though, because of frustration.
To be honest, Femi, yeah, I was very, very critical of him, but I will not physically abuse him. I will not racially abuse him, even if I was not the same skin color with him. There should not be a place for racism in our sport or even in society. I will draw a line at not going that far, Femi. And I will not excuse any fan. There's nothing that will make you abuse someone racially simply because he had a bad day. Yeah, he had a very, very bad day in the last two games, Femi. I will not deceive you. He played very, very poorly. The hopes of a whole club will not be on you, and you played that. And as a matter of fact, I remember writing that he is not elite level material. He shouldn't be playing in the Premier League on the basis of what I've seen so far this season. Of course, a lot of people will excuse his performance. They will tell you it's his first season. They will tell you he's still young. He has a lot to learn. But no, Femi, you do not learn at a club like Chelsea, Man U, Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool. You don't learn there. If you're going to learn, you learn at lower, lesser clubs, not at those big clubs. No, you don't learn there. You are expected to be like one of the top 5 in your position when you go to any of these clubs. There's no excusing that ineptitude. But yet, I will not stand and permit his abuse by anybody. Whether fans, I'm happy with what the club has done, standing behind him. I'm happy that the club is not throwing him under the bus for me. I'm happy that the player now hopefully can raise his game for me, because the club is not doing well, and you are like the top striker. If you're not doing well, obviously the club will not do well. So he has to raise his game. You cannot be paid that much and then you play pedestrian football for me. In fact, Sunday football should not be that pedestrian. I will not take that. I will not excuse him. He has been very, very poor. Yet I will not also condone him being abused racially. I will not condone him being abused physically. It is wrong. It is wrong.
Okay, of course, we appreciate the Drogba, of course, for throwing his weight behind Jackson, despite all the, of course, all the attacks that he suffered online. James, I've heard players of African descent saying that World Football Authority, football authorities generally are not really particularly serious about curbing racism. Would you also agree with that? How do you think they are complicit in all of this? Because the players, several of them, Samuel Eto'o is falling victim. I think the Drogba is also falling victim. A lot of them. Now they've said that football authority should work with owners of social media, for instance, the platform through which people abuse some of this. But it seems that nothing is being done.
Well, for me, I don't think the clubs are. It's difficult to drag clubs into this. It's not as if they cannot monitor all their fans. Maybe they are even their fans the so-called fans who are just there just to cause trouble. So there are fans like that. You find them in every team. In every club. They are the ones, the loyal ones. Then they are the ones that are ready to bring down they don't care. It's as if they are just there to just cause problem. We've seen in different instances where clubs come out to tell you that they are standing with their player, that things like that. But I think it goes beyond that. There are so many things involved, and for me, I think the lot of FIFA, even UEFA, they've not really, to me, they've not really done much about it. They've just been paying lip service. They just come out to condemn. They always condemn it. They'll say they condemn in stronger terms, and it ends there. And the next thing you see another instance.
That happens.
I remember when Cameroon, when they wore this what is it called, this armless jersey.
Armless, yeah.
No.
Jersey,
Okay,
yeah.
there's no, not that one. There's the one the one piece jersey. The one in the 2004 AFCON. There was a threat, if I'm not mistaken, there was a threat from FIFA that they were going to be deducted points from. I think it was close to the World Cup qualifiers, so there was a kind of a threat. So you see the swiftness in trying to against Cameroon. Then, if I could remember that, I think that was what really happened before they had to refer back to the normal jersey. But you find out that when it comes to racial, especially when countries like Spain, Italy, these are countries that are rampant when it comes to both. Sometimes we say, I think the best bet for me is when the club side they are always in the news for all the wrong reasons, especially for racism. Why not deduct points? Why not just go hard on them and do something? Or even national team that maybe they are fans. I mean, I feel that will be kind of do something about. But you find out that they're always reluctant to go that route. When it comes to me, I think when you say that your team keeps getting deducted, points are being chalked off in whatever point they accumulated. I think that will go a long way in that this will affect your team. But tell me, they just come and make statements, fine, okay, they ban a section of the stadium and it ends there. And it's like they keep recycling the same thing, So for me, I don't know, maybe it's more than what we are seeing. Because I don't know, maybe because these countries are big football countries, they are, it's so difficult to say you want to clamp down on them. This thing has been on for years, but for me, the top authorities, they are not ready. For me, I don't think they are ready to really clamp down, or maybe they feel they are going to step on toes, and they might not like the. So for me, that's where I see it. They are not ready to tackle it, and when we will continue to hear things like this. Racism will continue to be there.
I absolutely agree with you, James, because recently I saw a video of how UEFA are preparing for, in terms of security for your Euro 2024. And you need to see what has been put in place. If half of that is put in football, I think it will eternally quell what we call racism. Kyle, I don't know how low it can go for Ghana, because you have Ghanaian, you have Nigerian, but we've seen a lot of issues in football. You know, we've talked about it severally on this show. But these are athletes who represented the country at the 2023 African Games. And they are saying they've not been paid. This particular athlete, Ghanaian weightlifter Winifred Ntumi, she's saying that they've not been paid their bonuses owed by the ministry. All the effort they've made to reach out to the person's country, they've not been picking their firm. She said she's not the only one who represented the country, have not been paid. I remember during the event, during the tournament, or during the competition, those who are supposed to represent Ghana in cycling were saying that they had no bicycles. And this is a country that spent $195 million to host the rest of Africa.
Like I remember telling you, Femi, during the competition, I said Ghana hosted a very, very beautiful competition, but they hosted Africa and forgot their own athletes. Because I saw a lot of complaints, but out of nationalism and everything, a lot of people did not want to seem very, very critical because they didn't want it to look like, oh, we have guests. You know, in Africa, when you have guests, whatever it is that you sweep it under the carpet until the guests leave. So I saw a lot of that. Don't forget that it is not only about the cyclists alone. There were a number of sporting associations that also had the same problem. In fact, some of the Ghanaians who, you know, traditionally Ghana are strong in boxing, some of them claim that they did not prepare well. That's why they didn't do too well. You know, Nigeria dominated that sport, that they didn't prepare too well. That's why they didn't prepare well. That's why they didn't do too well. So for me, I think Ghana should get to that point where they know that they should strike a balance between developing their athletes and preparing for major competitions like we saw them at the African Games. No doubts about it. Nobody is going to take that away from Ghana, that they did well, surprised a lot of people, including myself, Femi, I must say that. But you cannot host a good World Cup, a good competition without giving your own athletes a chance to compete. Because if they don't prepare, if they do not prepare, how can they contest? So for me, I think that's where the problem is. I'm not absolving the sports officials. 195 million is a lot of money. It's a lot of money. As a matter of fact, I know a lot of people who said that money should have been put into other things that Ghana couldn't afford to waste.
Yeah, because the country is heavily indebted.
That's the point. That Ghana, they do not have the kind of resources to waste, in quote, on that kind of discipline. You know, Femi, there's what they call the hard power and the soft power in diplomacy that countries use to project themselves. Sporting events like hosting sporting events like this is one of the soft power
one of them.
Diplomacy.
Yeah.
So Ghana has used that competition to project itself, that yes, good things can happen here. So I do not fault them hosting. What I fault is the fact that their athletes did not prepare well. And that's what we are saying now, that about a month or 2 months after the event, athletes are still complaining of not being paid. I mean, this is not done. The Olympics is coming up shortly. Do you want to take athletes who are discontented to the Olympics, where the competition is going to even be higher than at the African Games? So if they don't do too well, you can tell, Femi, it's not until they get to the Olympics before you know that they are not going to do well. If they do not prepare well, definitely they are not going to do well.
Okay. Well said, Kyle. James, before we leave this particular story, I'm not alleging or I'm not accusing the Bama. I could infer that this could be another case of maybe fraud, because nobody will convince you and I that these athletes, their bonuses and allowances were not even prepared for. Let's even say it wasn't part of the $195 million that was spent on facility, infrastructure, and all that. But you will also convince me that there was no preparation for this athlete in terms of their bonuses, allowances to represent their country.
There's no other thing to describe it down to say something is fishy, you know, because I mean, it's not as if you just hosting
Since
you
March
just want to
23rd,
host.
the competition has ended
Yeah.
since March 23rd. Up till now, they've not been paid.
So you cannot say there were no preparation made for the athletes. I mean, it's not as if you are just hosting the rest of Africa. Your own athletes too. They were supposed to. They took part in the competition, and you expected them to get allowances and bonuses and what have you. But it's sad that these things we are talking about this thing again, of unpaid allowances. And I mean, the other countries, they've moved on, but here we are with the host country, still talking about unpaid allowance. During the competition, we saw instances where some of the athletes came out to complain. Just like what I already mentioned, the cyclist came out to say he didn't get his bike, So it's sad now. The Olympics is just around the corner. For me, I'm telling you, they are not going to. It's not as if I'm trying to put down the Ghanaian team to the Olympic, but Femi, I don't think they're going to go to that tournament with the right mindset, because we are still trying to solve the mess that has been created. So how much more the Olympics? That will even be worse. We also what happened at the 2022 World Cup, where the GFA, they were accused of taking I mean, look at the number of people that went to the World Cup, So now this is the Olympics. I mean, so most of these administrators, it's just like a jamboree. They just want to go there and have fun. They don't care about the athletes. Things like they just don't care. They just use. I think they use the athletes. They just want the athletes to. They just use it as a means to just get there. It's so glaring. This is a case of fraud. Somebody has just sat on what is the rightful listen to
due to the players
certain
or the
people.
athletes.
So they just ride on the athletes to get to wherever this that they want to go to. They just want the athletes to do the hard work. They go get the fund. They just share it among themselves and they forget about the main actors. If these guys are not there, you're not going anywhere. If the team don't qualify for major, they're not going anywhere. But once they qualify, that's when you see all these people coming out. You hardly hear of the administrators talking about and they've not gotten their own. You will never hear that they've not gotten allowances or bonus. Their own is always intact. But when it comes to the athletes, it's always one cry and wailing, and So for me, it's a case of fraud. Something has gone wrong, and Femi, we may not have heard the last of this, honestly.
Okay, that reminds me of what happened at the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar, when the individuals who followed the Black Stars to the World Cup got as much as $100,000. I'm sure that case has been swept under the carpet already. I think we can do better. Guys, let's move to the continent now. Of course, the CAF Champions League and the CAF Confederations Cup, the semi-final my matches, of course, will take place this weekend. Kyle, the dreams, Sunday, I should say, might likely be the D-Day for them. Remember, the first leg ended goalless against Zamalek in Egypt. And of course, Zamalek, yesterday, they touched down in Ghana. And our coach, Abdul Karim Zito, who is doing fantastically well with the club this season, is saying that they will not sit back the way they did in the first leg. Of course, we all understood that is strategic. But Kyle, would you say that is the best way to go against a team like Zamalek, who the coach, of course, Ose, has said that the second leg is going to be completely different from how they played in the first leg at home?
Yeah, Femi, if you know the South and North African teams, Femi, don't take anything past them. Of course, Dreams have overachieved this season, Femi. Nobody thought they are going to be where they are now. They have overachieved considering everything, the finances and everything. They have overachieved. But they should not get carried away that the hardest part of the job has been done. As a matter of fact, until the final whistle, when they have won, I do not believe anything has been achieved, because the North African teams are very, very corny. They will come, they will drag it out, throw this kitchen sink at you, get a goal, and sit on it until the end of the game. So if you know the North African mentality, they will play all the psychological games on you, Femi. They have been doing this for 50, 60, 70 years. They are the masters of this mind games, Femi. So what the Ghanaian team needs to do is just to turn a blind eye to all of these psychological tricks that they're going to be playing on them. Just be focused on the game. Don't talk too much.
Okay.
Get on the pitch and get the job done.
Okay, all right. Of course, in the CAF champ, we'll wish dreams all the best. In the CAF champions, of course, we have TP Mazembe. Of course, remember Al Ahly. Now, Al Ahly will be hosting them in the second leg. They'll be hosting TP Mazembe, and of course, Mamelodi Sundowns. They lost the first leg. They'll be hosting Esperance of Tunisia. And now, of course, because of time, our stand diaspora today or this week is Abdul Fattah Ishaku. Of course, the Ghanaian star is doing well with Leicester City. He scored a hat-trick during the week against Southampton in the championship. Leicester City are almost back now to the Premier League. And of course, Ishaku is on loan from Sporting Lisbon, but I'm not sure if Leicester City will allow him to return to Portugal at the end of the season. I'm just in my head thinking of Abdul Fattah Ishaku with Mama Kudus and Ernest Noama in front for the Black Star. That is going to be deadly. Now, guys, we have just a few minutes, but let's talk about the game of the week. It will be Eto'o du Sahel hosting Club Africain in the playoff championship in Tunisia. And of course, if you check the head-to-head, we have the head-to-head favors Eto'o du Sahel. They've won 18 times. 18 times, Club Africain just for, and the rest have ended in draws 8 times. And of course, Esperance, they are running away with the title already. James, let's look at it. Do you think Club Africain have any of they are on 6 points? Both of them are on 6 points on the table, just 6-team championship playoff. And the continental ticket is at stake between these two sides. They both have 6 points at the top on the table.
Fine. You want to on paper, you want to give it to Eto'o, but I mean, there's something at stake, and when something is at stake, I mean, you want to give your all. So fine. Eto'o will go in as a favorite. But Club Africain, they will have a say in this because, I mean, like I said, something is at stake, they're going to give it their all and get at least want to try and get one over Eto'o, So Eto'o will go in favorite, but Femi, it's going to be a tight contest. And who knows, at the end of the day, the two teams might end up sharing the spoils.
Okay. In 15 seconds, of course, like I said, the Experience, they're running away with the title. Eto'o, they are hosting Club Africain, and both of them are on 6 points on the championship table. They have just one game to go after this. Do you think Eto'o might just nick this and qualify for maybe finish a second behind the Experience for the Champions League this season?
Yeah, I think they have the pedigree, they have the requisite firepower to do it, and I'm tipping them to do that.
All right, okay, guys. Thank you so much for your thoughts on the show today. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Femi. See you next time.
Yeah, thank you, Femi, so, and bye.
All right, okay. So apologies about that, James. Okay, to our fans across the world, please don't forget, not just watch our videos. Please click on that notification button to get the video as soon as they drop, and please follow us. Because like we said, okay, if you think we've not come to your comment section, which do you think are the 2 biggest things in your country, so that we can follow up whenever they have a head-to-head game to play in the league right there. Please do not forget, put this in the comment section. I wish all of you a fantastic weekend ahead. I remain Akelula Femi. We'll see you all on Monday. Bye for now.